From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua Foreskin Bevan.
Oh, no.
He disappears when things get hard.
Oh, my God.
Well, that one got it. That's good.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Oh, my God.
I'm sorry, Foreskin. I'm sorry.
That's a good image, yeah.
I'm going to call you Five Skin. Yeah. Just so it doesn't
I
feel
don't know.
like, I'm insulting
If you
you.
actually would have saw it as like more 2.5 skin.
Okay,
or
well,
something.
that's between you and your God. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Okay, anyway.
Oh, boy.
I know. You're going to definitely call HR.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So just to let you know where we are.
There's I don't know, the HR put a limit to the number of
Times you can complain. Poor sweet Joshua walks in the front door and I have a hoodie on and I unzip it and I say, "Can you do me a favor?" And what I wanted was for him to cut the tag off the back of my shirt. So he thought I was doing something terrible.
Did you do me a favor?
Yeah, it was not my fly. It was my hoodie. It's above the waist, sir. Anyway, I did not realize how it sounded, but of course, Joshua had to bring it to my attention. So now I am going to be brought up on charges, and it's all terrible. And then I called him Foreskin, and then
HR doesn't believe me anymore.
Okay, good. You are the little boy who cried foreskin.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. This is so bad. Why? Should we just start over?
No way. Oh, man.
We're going to have a very serious discussion today.
Oh, no.
I promise you.
Oh, no.
It's going to be just wonderful.
Yeah, I love this. So, murder.
Yeah, so anyway, well, we are going to get to that, I promise.
Oh, boy.
I did want to say I forgot one of the amazing presents from Sweet Joshua. I got a purple cowbell. And I forgot to mention it and forgot to ring it. So more cowbell, as usual. That was one of my favorite presents. And I left it downstairs for too long. And I was like, I need to bring it up to the podcast room. So here we are ringing the cowbell. I don't remember if I said anything in the last episode. I probably did, but I passed statistics with 1 point.
Good work.
Yeah, no, not good work. But anyway, I passed. It's pass, fail, and I passed. I know. And it took me a week and a half to decompress. It was absolutely the worst, terrible thing ever. Anyway, moving on. This week started, we had a 10-day break and then back at it with financial crimes. I thought I would hate it. Taught by the same lovely teacher who is a speed demon. She is very fast and very passionate about what she does. And you can see that sometimes you can feel her brain like spinning and her mouth works really fast, but sometimes her brain gets ahead of her mouth and she kind of fumbles words because she's so fast. She's like so fast. But if it were just me, I would feel so much more personal, like, oh my God, I am so old. I'm not ever going to get this. But the blessing is that I, was part of a study group. And there are people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. And everyone was struggling. Okay. So I felt a little better.
And it's all the same people keep going.
Yeah. Sometimes we get new people who don't want to take all of the classes. They want to take them piecemeal. But for the most part, it's people who are dedicated to this to get the certificate for either a promotion at work or to get, different employment or, something like that. So, or like me, your husband dies and you got to get a gig. So you want to do something that can be helpful and that you might be good at if it doesn't involve Excel.
Does this not involve Excel?
Statistics did.
Okay. When you said financial crimes, I'm thinking you're auditing people's books and there is
some of that, but it's been interesting the first two classes learning kind of about the history of, the Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission and what qualifies as fraud, what qualifies as embezzlement. Money laundering is very fascinating, what they consider clean money and dirty money. You can have clean money, buy drugs with it, And then that person takes that money and puts it back into society. And then that is dirty money.
Got it.
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And what's really fascinating is going down the rabbit hole of trying to find dirty money.
Okay.
And prove. You have to prove
that,
that it was used for, it's ill-gotten gains or used for to defraud someone or not pay taxes or something. It's fascinating as fuck. A lot of it happens in casinos. Didn't know that. There are specific forms for fraud in casinos using laundering money through casinos.
Okay.
Fascinating. Like whenever I think laundering money, I think about Better Call Saul,
sure,
taking the money for the guys in Breaking Bad and
right. I mean, that's
nail salons.
Yeah, nail salon. Well, any kind of cash business. The car wash should.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
They did that in that show. Or laundromat, where it's literally laundering money. Yeah, but of course a casino, because that's all cash. I mean, you can just buy chips and then that's it.
That's exactly how she was explaining it. Like I said, we saw official forms that like the Department of Justice fills out to start an investigation of what they call a target or suspect, whether it's a business or it's one or two people high up in a business or it's an individual. In fact, hold on. I do have to say, I forgot to bring my Magic Mind and I didn't take it for 3 days. And I didn't think it made a difference. And then I got back home and started taking it again and thought, you are awake all day. You have a sustained amount of energy.
Wow.
And your brain is thinking clearly.
Wow.
So I know it makes a difference now.
Cool.
I couldn't be more in love with Magic Mind if I tried. I am a customer as well as, they are a sponsor.
Cool.
I pay for them and they send me some. Nice. But I would pay for them.
That sounds like you're a customer.
I am a customer. No, I mean, they send me some for free, but I pay for them too. So so I now have, a good supply. They send me some in exchange for talking about them, but I would talk about them for free. Nice. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, should I? Because then,
then they're going to stop.
Yeah, they're going to stop sending them to me. I don't care. I love them and I will take them as long as I can afford them. If I have to sell, who needs 2 kidneys? Right? Nobody. I mean, I don't even pee that much.
And think of how much less you would pee if you only had one.
I'll be
kidney.
A camel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please don't sell an organ. I was just kidding. And it's not that expensive. It's worth it. It is so worth it. I am begging you to just give it a try. Okay. If you find yourself struggling, I have so many friends who work their asses off and say to me, I'm just tired. And I keep saying, would you consider Magic Mind? Because I am telling you, it makes such a difference in how I feel. It somehow provides me energy and a clear mind, but not overly excitable. It's not like, drinking Monster or something like that 5-hour energy. It's sustainable. It sustains you through the whole day. Right. So I am madly in love with it. If you go to magicmind.com and in the promo area, put Tip-Sters 20, you get 20% off. And it's, it's spectacular. That's all I can say. I just want you to try it for yourself. If you have a hard time doing something for yourself, I've even had to remind friends, think of it as doing something for someone else. You can't be there for others if you're not taking care of yourself. So I just want you to take care of yourself. So I hope you'll try it. And I am so happy to be back home. I couldn't believe I forgot it. I brought my thyroid meds. I brought my Claritin D. Forgot my Magic Mind. So I'm not going to ever do that again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
And your allergies were that bad even though you had the D?
Why do you do this to me?
The D. What are you?
Yes. I had a goodly supply of the D, my friend. And yes,
and still bad.
My allergies were terrible. I also take a hardcore asthma medicine every night, even though I do not have asthma because my allergies are so bad. And I take a Claritin D during the day so that I can breathe.
Yeah. Wow.
Good times.
Yeah.
I said on Sunday, I think I'm allergic to Las Vegas.
Well, I
was kind of kidding, but not really.
No, I mean, of course you're not kidding. Of course there's different fauna, flora, whatever it is, wherever you go. So yeah,
I woke up,
you go on a trip
Monday and thought I have COVID. I was so sick. Wow. I thought I had a horrible headache. I couldn't stop sneezing.
Well, and the other one I was wondering about is, do you have a reaction when you hang out with people who smoke? Or is it cigarette smoke that?
A lot of people said that, but no.
Okay.
I felt like Vegas it didn't bother me.
Vegas is less smoky, I think, than it used to be.
Well, we were at South Point, which is not the Strip. It's not less smoky. South Point is spread out, and not everyone smokes, but I did smell it, but it wasn't overwhelming.
Not so much that
it was bad in the casinos on the Strip.
Yeah. Okay.
It was bad.
Really?
But we didn't spend a lot of time there. It was mostly walking through on the way to get to White Castle.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There are 4 White Castles in Las Vegas. 4.
Oh.
But it's fresh, hot White Castles, not from the freezer section.
Right.
It's like being in Kentucky, and I loved it with all my heart.
I tell you, I tried the freezer section White Castle a few weeks ago. Yeah, no.
You need them hot and fresh made from weirdos' hands.
Weirdos. It's
the hands of the weirdos. That make it special.
Yeah.
The pickle and the baby onions.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, allergic to Las Vegas in the summer. I did swear to never go back in the summer.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless I start to get allergy shots or something, which I don't want to do, which is why
I don't know that you're missing much.
Where I am.
I mean, I've grown up in Southern California, and it's like, oh, Vegas, baby, Vegas. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
It's
unless
fun.
you're going for a specific thing, which is we're going for a stupid specific bowling thing.
It's fine. Like, it's a fun, it's it's there. It's a few hours away. It's
a weird experience.
It's a fun little
everything.
Trip.
Everyone
Always
should experience it and then move on.
But I don't know. Yeah. I'm not a like Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Right.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Probably,
An hour into this, we should start talking about.
Probably so. So
there are other podcasts who have covered the specific reason why I want to talk about this much better than I ever could. And it would be way too much of a thing for me to take on. There are some short form podcasts, let's call them extremely popular, and they don't do a great job. The 2 I can recommend really are Generation Y and Last Podcast on the Left. And not to sell out my gender, those are both hosted by men, and they do a deep dive. And this is a case that needs a deep dive. It's not the case we're talking about. It's what has happened. And the 2 that I thought were shit, were 2 very highly rated podcasts hosted by women, and very surface, incorrect information.
Oh, and they messed up. Oh, okay.
The reason we're talking about this, which is, recidivism, criminal recidivism, is the difference between violent criminals and those who do, drug charges or property, theft. It's the reason that popped into my head was that a few days ago, Edmund Kemper was denied parole again.
Okay.
So Edmund Kemper was 6'9", not 6'4", which is mentioned in one of the short form podcasts. And I just wanted to scream.
6'9". Holy wow.
If you have
That's a large gentleman.
If you've watched Mindhunter, the amazing actor Cameron Britton becomes Edmund Kemper. He is, his voice is amazing. He sounds like Ed Kemper, who has no shortage of audio and video recordings of himself because he is a supreme narcissist, loves to talk about himself, loves to diagnose himself, likes to say that psychiatrists haven't pinned him down correctly and that some of the things he did, which, we're not going to go through all of them because it would be a long form podcast.
Okay.
But let's just say, his mother, I also just hate it when people, my mom, it's my mom's fault. My mom. Yeah. A lot of us had difficult childhoods. Even the most, functional families, people are like, you know what, my mom was a blank. My dad was a blank. whatever, fill in.
Right.
It's just not a good enough excuse. So his mom referred to him as a weirdo all the time. And I refer to everyone, including myself, as a weirdo.
Sure.
It's one of my favorite words.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem, I think decades later, it's not as bad.
Sure.
So we're talking about, this kid growing up in like, I don't know, the 60s.
Right.
Early 70s is when he kind of, Anyway, so if we go back, his parents get divorced. He dislikes his mother immensely. He shows up at his dad's house in California, and his dad is remarried and I believe has a stepson. And it's like, there's not a lot of room here for you. So I'm going to ship you off to my parents, and also in California. Ships him off to his grandparents, and immediately his grandmother becomes a substitute mother, and he is filled with rage because she was domineering, which could explain why his dad married a domineering woman. Of
course. Right.
And he stays there, and things, don't go well. His grandmother, when he was younger, had sisters when he was still living with his mom and his sisters. And his mom did a lot of not good things. Made him sleep in the basement because she was afraid he would rape his younger sisters.
Oh, boy.
So there was a problem that she didn't know how to diagnose or didn't know how to get him help. Right. So that's why he ran away and lived with his father. And then his father shipped him to the grandparents. And then when he was younger, he would... And people shit on this theory, and I still hold to it like nobody's business. I don't care how old school I am. The McDonald triad. And people say, oh, it's old school. It doesn't apply. Let's take a look. So the McDonald triad is there are 3 precursors to being a serial killer: bedwetting, fire starting, and animal torture. I wet the bed till I was like 5. I also had like a bladder and kidney issue that I had an operation, and I was fine. And then I loved fire, still do.
Oh my God.
I lit many matches till my fingers burnt, and I drop them. I love fire.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would never hurt an animal. In fact, I said hello to a grasshopper today that was on the cooler that I keep on the porch with drinks for people who deliver things.
I did some dumb things when I was a kid that I still have.
Yeah, that probably upset you because you're a sensitive soul. Yeah.
Like I have images of mistakes that I made, that experimenting that I went, oh, God.
And now you wish you hadn't.
Yeah.
And you won't do it again.
No, I won't.
Yes.
But things like.
I know what an animal lover you are, and a human lover. And I mean.
I'm just a lover.
You're a lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but yeah, exactly. I didn't have a problem wetting the bed, but I did some horrible things to some animals.
Okay, so did you ever decapitate your family's cat and put it on your bicycle handles?
No, I didn't do
this. Okay, all right.
No,
so that's where we are.
Okay.
You're not that guy.
Not that guy. All right.
No. He killed...
There's levels.
There are levels. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum. So he killed 2 family cats.
Jesus.
He's 15 at his grandparents' house. It's kind of a farm area. It's Aptos. It's kind of Aptos, California. It's kind of out rural. And apparently the discussion that pushed him over the edge was that his grandmother said, could you please stop killing the birds?
Oh, jeez.
And that was it. So
he stopped killing birds and he moved to the cats.
No, he shot his grandmother in the head and the back.
Oh, boy.
She was writing a children's book, and she landed face down on her own children's book on the kitchen table.
Oh, no. Wow.
I don't know if it became a pop-up book or... I'm sorry. I can't stop myself. I cannot stop myself. Erase. We're going to forget I said that. Okay? I know I'm a very bad person. I'm a very, very bad person. Okay, so moving on. His grandfather was out running errands, and he comes back.
He came back.
And met his grandfather in the driveway and shot and killed him. Now, his theory was he loves to diagnose himself. Okay. And I feel like he might have some insight into his own, psychopathy. He was rage-filled at his grandmother, who replaced, was a replacement for his mom. And he said he killed his grandfather because he couldn't allow him to show up into the kitchen and see his wife dead. So he did it like as a sympathy thing for him. I feel like that might explain how he feels about women and men.
Huh. Okay.
But I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. God.
So he is put in a, is it called Tascadero? Tascadero. Yeah. Okay. It's for the criminally insane.
Okay.
Now he's 15. He is very smart and wily. And this comes into play later. And this is why I am grateful he was not given parole. He is oddly charming, the way I guess, some serial killers are.
Sure.
He is a high IQ.
Right.
And talks himself into a lot of duties in prison.
Okay.
One of them is to distribute psychological tests to other prisoners.
Oh, wow.
So he figures out the way to answer things so it makes you look less crazy.
Okay.
He was 15. He is released on his 21st birthday.
Oh, boy. All right. This is not going to go well.
No, it isn't. And they, two psychiatrists deem him totally able to be integrated back into society.
Wow.
And those two psychiatrists said, please just write off your mother. Do not contact her. She does not need to be in your life. You two are toxic to each other.
Sure.
And he's released into the custody of his mother.
Oh, my God.
So.
Wait, released into her custody at 21?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Theory is he had nowhere else to go. Okay. He had no money. He, 15 to 21, he didn't get proper schooling. He didn't get an education, not the kind you need.
Right.
And he, his dad didn't want him. He killed his grandparents.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that tends to put a little hump in the relationship.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah.
So he is called the co-ed killer. Now, his mom worked at this university, so he had a university sticker on his car because his mom worked there and they shared a car. The police said to avoid anyone, in the early 70s, it's like, free love, hitchhiking. And if you, need a ride somewhere, just don't ride with anyone who does not have a sticker, because if they have a sticker, they've been vetted and they're at the university.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
At one point, he was leaving the university with two dead girls in the back of his car, and he covered them up to their neck in blankets and had their heads leaning on each other. And the security guard said, "What's with them?" And he said, "Oh, they're two drunk sorority girls. I'm taking them home."
Oh, boy.
At one point, he had two dead women in the trunk of his car, and he was pulled over. Cop didn't, for a broken taillight.
Uh-huh.
Cop didn't check the trunk. He had a lot of friends in the police force. He hung out at noted cop bars, thought he would be a cop, but they had a height requirement and he was too tall.
Oh, he was too tall.
At 6'9".
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting, huh?
Huh. Okay.
So there's a lot more fascinating shit about him, but he is, like when he gets the word that his juvenile record is being expunged, he had decapitated a girl. I'm sorry. It's just, it makes you think the system is working. The system is working.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, and I can tell you, I've mentioned it before, our friend John Grobman from Pause for Life, who spent 15 years in Vacaville, which is where Ed Kemper is still housed. He's 75 years old at this point. He had a stroke in 2015, which stopped his, he was given a lot of responsibility. And John Grobman, his first his first day at Vacaville, John got, 6 life sentences plus 40 years. For 3 nonviolent drug crimes. He spent 14 years. Floating checks and stealing money for drugs. So his first day in Vacaville, he's having breakfast with a guy he knew at, communal table, and they're sitting across from Ed Kemper. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, you seem like a quiet guy. I don't know. And after he got up and left, his friend said, do you know who that is? And he said, no. And he said, that's Ed Kemper. He's a serial killer. And he's like, oh. So John is also kind of a wily, charming fellow, and worked his way up to being like, you're given positions of trust if you are proven, So he was like the alternate assistant to this like head of something. I forgot. I did mention it in another episode. And she said something like, oh, if you have any questions, just ask my other assistant. And he said, and who is that? And she said, Ed. And he's like, Ed. And she said, Ed Kemper. And he's like, oh. And I guess just to be, I don't know, maybe he was trying to pee around his perimeter. He changed all of Ed's passwords.
Oh my God.
And a few days later, 6'9" Ed Kemper comes stomping down the hall going, Groban, where's Sean Groban? And he's shaking the bars on a cell and saying like, watch your back or whatever. Right. And I said, did you get scared? And he said, no. And I was like, well, you're dumb. But I guess he didn't kill anyone in prison. He's still there.
Sure.
My least favorite part is that he recorded audiobooks for the blind.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, he did stuff like, what's it called? Flowers in the Attic and Star Wars. Can you imagine? Whoa. I guess he's like, he can do a really good Chewbacca because he's like 6'9" wiener.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a fascinating case. I will tell you that the district attorney for Santa Cruz County, Jeff Rossell, urged the parole panel to keep him in the medical facility in Vacaville. And he said, we made the argument that he is essentially untreated for all these years, that in terms of serial killers, he's one of the most depraved in the country. Now, he hasn't attended one of his own parole hearings in quite a while. The DA is like, look, he doesn't respect it. He's blowing it off because he doesn't care. He has an attorney who says that's not it. He knows he's not ever going to be let out. So his next parole hearing isn't until 2031, which is weird because I thought parole was like every 2 years, but I guess not.
Okay.
And he probably won't be alive.
Sure.
Then maybe not. But he's in a wheelchair. He had a stroke in 2015, so he doesn't do the audiobooks anymore. He's 75. So he first became eligible for parole in 79. And I think he was arrested in like 73. So 6 years later, after killing 8 people.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention he killed 6 co-eds, his grandparents and his mom and her best friend. He
did kill his mom.
Yeah. Decapitated her, tried to put her tongue and larynx down the disposal and it stopped.
Oh my God.
He said it spit pieces of her out at him and he said, I thought that was fitting. But wait, there's more. He then got her larynx out of the disposal and fucked her larynx.
Oh my God. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that boy ate right.
Mm-hmm. Invited her best friend over for dinner after he'd killed his mom and killed her.
After.
Mm-hmm. And killed her.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Did he make dinner?
I don't know. He actually, you know what? That's a very good point. He tried to say he was a cannibal because he thought that would get him, he pled insanity.
Oh, okay.
He thought that would get him a softer sentence and then said that was all bullshit. I never ate anyone. I thought that would, give me a softer sentence.
It was just,
wow. Uh-huh. He decapitated women and fucked their heads and would leave their heads places and cut up their bodies and put them on other places. Very few parts of the people he killed were found.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's because he's so smart. I think it was just, if you want to talk luck, and it's the worst word I can think of,
Okay.
you have 2 dead girls in your car and a security guard at the university where your mom works says, what's up with them? They're drunk. You have 2 dead women in the trunk of your car. Right. And you're pulled over for a broken taillight. Nobody checks your trunk. Between 11 months between May of 72 and April of 73, he killed, 5 college students, 1 high school student who was a dancer, missed her bus and wanted to go to dance class. His mother and his mother's best friend.
Yeah.
So he'd put him in his trunk, take him to isolated locations, and then he would do... This is what's else is so interesting about him is that it's very Israel Keys. He would shoot them, stab them, smother them, strangle them.
Just all different methods. Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Cutting off their heads and fucking their dead skulls.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
So my favorite part is after he killed his mom's friend, he went on the road and felt the rage had left him because he'd killed what he thought was the problem. He still says, the way my mother raised me is why these 6 women had to be killed. Right. So he stopped at a payphone and called a police station and said, I want to, turn myself in as the co-ed killer. And they're like, Ed, that's funny. Click.
What?
He had to call back.
Oh my God.
Found a different officer and convinced him. And then they went to find his mom and her best friend at the house.
And then they were, okay. So they hadn't found the bodies at his own house yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Uh-huh. 2
funny.
phone calls.
Wow.
2 phone calls.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's talk about recidivism.
Yeah.
I didn't fight John Grobman, but I was fascinated by his theory that rehabilitation works and recidivism is not as big of a problem as people think. I am all for programs in prison that make people feel like human beings.
Sure.
I mean, I will tell you where one time it came in handy in a horrible backward way is the serial killer Sam Little, who basically is responsible for about 90 women's murders. And he learned art in prison. And he has, what do they call it? What's the word? It's not mnemonic. What's the kind of memory where you remember like it was a Thursday? I can't think of the word, but it's the kind of memory.
Like eidetic?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Eidetic memory. Thank you. He had an eidetic memory for his victims. He remembered weather conditions, roads, specific things, but more importantly, what they were wearing, ribbons in their hair, color of earrings, spaces between teeth. And he was not a accomplished artist, but good enough. And he got, some pencils and paper and drew a whole bunch of his victims, and they put them up on a big board and had a press conference and said, does anyone recognize these people? Do you have missing women in your life that look like this?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So I do believe in programs in prison. I don't think prison should be cushy.
I do. Yeah, I don't know that one was a rehabilitation, though. It was not. That was, yeah.
But I think music programs, reading. I mean, there's a law library, I think it's funny that I know a few comics who've done time who were like, my attorney said, do not go to the law library. Do not look shit up.
Because you're swept up in
you're going to think that you're going to get out of this and you did it. You did it. You're going to do some time. Do not think you're going to find a loophole.
Sure.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's funny.
Ali Sadiq is one who makes me laugh so hard. I think he didn't do he was given 15 years. I think he did 6 or something. Okay. But he talks about it a lot. And he said, my attorney was like, do not go to the, whatever you do.
Don't go there.
Because he said he was always trying to find a way out or around. And he's like, you're going to do this time.
Right.
But he got it a little early. But anyway, yeah. So this is pretty fascinating. I have a whole lot of statistics here, which I don't want to be boring, but I knew that talking to Joshua about this, we could probably have a pretty good discussion because I have changed so much over the years. When I started this podcast, and really it didn't take long after I started it to change my mind, I have always been an eye for an eye girl. I was so angry. If you took someone else's life, you fucking paid with your life. Right. I saw no reason to house or clothe or feed a motherfucker who thought they had the right to extinguish the light out of someone else's eyes. Right. And it isn't just that person you're taking out. You are affecting their whole community, their family structure, everything. You cause so much pain when you kill someone. Right. Oh my God. So I was like, you need to suffer. So didn't take me long talking to some people who said, but what about the people that have been executed that are innocent? And I was like, ouch. Yes. So I now cannot sanction the taking of someone else's life because it makes me just as big of a killer. I wouldn't be pulling a switch or shooting a gun or hanging someone, but if I were supporting that, that would make me just as bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Yeah, we vote. We're not pulling the switch, but we voted for the people who are.
Yeah.
Or in some way voted for the people who nominated the people who are pulling the switch, or however that.
Right. So John Grobman tried to gently guide me, and he's like, recidivism isn't as big of a deal as people think. And I'm like, it isn't. So the thing that I found from way too much research, rabbit hole research, is that, and I'll be honest, the thing that bothers me the most is murder. Of course, recidivism and, theft and drug crimes is something to think about. But you know what I focus on mostly is murder.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, okay. In a person like John Grobman, who's stealing money for drugs, and he goes to prison, and he kicks his drug habit because
he has to.
He has to. Well, I don't know about has to.
But
there's
he did.
Ways to get drugs in prison.
Right.
But he did. So now he's not doing drugs, and he has got involved in a program that gave him direction in his life. That's the kind of person that he doesn't have a reason to do the crime anymore.
Right.
Yeah, him statistically, he has a job.
Yes.
That earns him a living.
Yep.
And he's not doing drugs, and okay. So that whole doing that thing again doesn't make sense.
He's a functioning member of society, and he's not only that, he is, and keeping his nose clean, he is helping others.
Right. Yeah. That's more of a, I don't know. It's a different mindset than about what you're about to go into.
Well, no, that's true. In my mind, that's true rehabilitation.
Right.
And he believes in that. And I appreciate that he does. And I get it to the best of my ability. What is fascinating to me is that murderers typically do not reoffend for several reasons. We all know somebody who's gotten out and done it again, i.e. Ed Kemper. He was too young. He was a child, whatever. There's lower recidivism rates in murder due to factors like your sentence is longer.
Okay.
You age out of wanting to do something violent. Your age of release is that you're like, nah, I'm not gonna. I mean, I think the most beautiful way to sum it up, and I wish I had the exact quote, and it's so spectacular and it's such a slam and it turned out to be so right, is Michelle McNamara, A Letter to an Old Man, at the end of I'll Be Gone in the Dark.
Okay.
It's like the last page of her book.
Okay.
And she says, unfortunately, she died before he was arrested, but not long, and it wasn't long after she passed that he was arrested. She says, and I'm going to misquote it, but just try to hang with me. And if you can find it, read it, because it's beautiful. It's not long. She says, one day there's going to be a knock at the door and you're going to be an old man and your testosterone will have lowered. That juice that you use to get over fences and overpower people will be gone, and they will take you and you will pay for what you've done to all these people.
Wow.
And I'll be damned if she wasn't fucking right. He was 72 and he had a roast in the oven.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you remember, but they show up at his door in Citrus Heights.
And
Joseph D'Angelo, he kind of knows why, and they're like, we're arresting you for the murders of 10 people and the rapes of 50. And he's like, but I have a roast in the oven.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they're like, we'll turn it off for you.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe that's why the age of, being released, you don't have that, I want to kill.
Right.
Or maybe you killed someone because of, there's sex, money, revenge. Those are the three reasons. If it's sex, you're probably going to have lost some interest. If it's revenge, maybe you killed the person you need to kill and you don't want it anymore. If it's money, who's going to trust you and whose good graces are you going to get into that you can steal their money?
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, the stats are fascinating. So drug and property crimes, a higher recidivism rate. Violent crimes, the likelihood of reoffense is 10%.
10%.
I know.
Okay.
I find that fascinating.
Oh, okay.
I know. I don't know if they count rape, because I think rapists are rapists.
Yeah, I would expect that's a circumstantial thing too.
Right. And that's a violent crime.
It's absolutely.
Right.
And but also a rapist at 20 years old, versus a rapist at 40 years old, that same guy has a whole different set of hormones and directives now. So
interesting.
Is he really going to go back and, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, so some of this is from CNN. Some of this is from the Sentencing Project. Some of this is from usafacts.org, the Bureau of Justice Statistics. I mean, I tried to find as much as I could, about, who does what. I think it's really fascinating that Black and Native American prisoners face the highest rates of recidivism. I also think it's because they're the highest number of inmates.
Yeah, I was going to say that just makes sense. If you're getting arrested more, then of course you're going to get rearrested more.
I think it's fascinating that Native American Indian and Alaskan natives are the highest number of prisoners. I would think it would be Black.
That's what I always thought.
So it's American Native, American Indian, Alaskan Native, 79%, Black, 74%, white, 70%, other, 68%, Hispanic, 67%.
Huh. Okay.
I think that's fascinating.
Is this adjusted per capita kind of thing, or is it
U.S. across the United States?
Across the United States. Wow.
Yeah.
I did not.
So 95% of prison population is men, obviously.
Sure.
Sorry. And the recidivism rate for women who spend 5 years or more in prison is 63%, but that's below average for all prisoners, male or female.
Okay.
I think it's fascinating. But murderers typically don't reoffend. And we all know there are, examples, but
sure.
So prisoners who commit property crimes, they have the highest rate of recidivism. 78% of those prisoners were rearrested again after 5 years.
Yeah.
I just feel like it says violent crimes, and this is from their Bureau of Justice statistics. Violent crimes had the lowest recidivism rate because prisoners face longer sentences. But it's just, I think that's super weird.
I don't know. There's got to be a change somewhere. I mean, that's the hope in general, is rehabilitation.
Right.
Rehabilitation means somehow the prisoner, who's ever in prison, the offender, his mindset has shifted from someone who does a crime like that to someone who doesn't do a crime like that.
Right.
So how do we help that shift to happen? I don't know that I think sometimes it just happens because prison sucks and I don't want to go back.
Right.
Like,
that's what John said. He said, my worst day out is better than my best day in.
And so there's a huge amount of that, I'm sure.
Right.
Beyond that, I think, I think the system doesn't have all that much.
No, I think it takes... I
think there's a lot of opportunity for more. How about that?
That's a perfect way to put it. And I think the people that do get out and find a life that they can, hold on to and that supports them and that they can support, it's a combo. I don't know if it's a combo of prison programs, therapy, finding someone who believes in you and gives you a chance or whatever. I mean, I don't know what the combo is, and I wish I knew. And maybe it's different for every person.
Right.
Maybe it's family. Maybe it's getting away from your family.
Right.
Maybe it's, I don't know. But I was fascinated that, property crimes have the highest rates of recidivism.
Right.
The next is drug,
Yeah.
The lowest is violent crimes. And the biggest number of repeat offenders are because of probation or parole violations. That's the main cause of rearrest.
Okay.
And that could be something as simple as you didn't
check in.
Or you went too far from home with your ankle bracelet on or something.
Right.
They can find, you were friends with someone who owns a gun. I mean, they can find something to always put you back if they have to.
Right.
If they think or they want to.
Yeah, that's a matter of I wasn't exactly polite to my parole officer.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I mean,
right.
I'm not saying all those guys are dicks. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you are.
There are some who are not that forgiving.
It's what's so interesting is that rearrest rates are highest in the first year after release. And
sense.
With almost 90% of rearrests are within the first 3 years of a prisoner's release.
Yeah, wow.
I don't know if you'll learn more over time. I mean, there are some statistics that say you do learn over time because recidivism rates fall typically between 7 and 10% every year that you're out.
Okay.
So, I do find that fascinating. I can tell you that I don't have the answer.
Right.
I think what you're saying is perfect. You said it very succinctly. There's definitely more that can be done.
Sure. And there always will be. We're improving as a society.
Right.
I think
we can hope.
Sorry.
Okay, let me pause it. I love that you think that society is improving, and I do believe there's always something that can be done.
Yeah, I mean that's my glasses
lover,
half full.
Your lover mentality.
Yeah.
Animal lover, people lover, lover.
I think we are. I mean, yes, you can point to things that look bleak right now, but but as many times as you can point to things that look like we're failing. I think I can also point to things that are beautiful and amazing. And
I appreciate you because sometimes I don't see that. Like I
didn't mean you specifically. I meant in general. But
sure. No, I know you don't mean me.
Sure.
I appreciate your outlook because I do need sometimes a tap on the shoulder.
We're doing it. We're healing. Healing takes time.
Right. Apparently.
And each of us are doing it on our own time, separately. And as a collective, we are doing it as, we're going through and generation by generation and trying not to pass things on. And there's an amount of respect, human to human respect that is, I think, growing when you talk about crime and criminals, somebody who commits a crime, somebody who does something that our society deems not okay. They're still, each of them are still a human being, and I feel like we are growing in our respect for that fact, and then we're looking at it and we are slowly going to say, okay, this is a human being that, maybe made a mistake, maybe has a mindset that says, oh, well, this is okay. How do we help this person say, no, the rest of society says this is not okay, and teach, proper societal things? Or we say, oh yeah, that whole situation that you ended up in that led to you making the mistake, and they realize it was a mistake from the beginning. Hey, how can we fix this for all the people, so that more people aren't led to that moment of, I need to eat, so I'm going to, steal a car or whatever. Like
you're Jean Valjean.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's part of it too. Is like, we live in this society that creates people like Jean Valjean who need to steal the loaf of bread, or don't need to, but like want to feed. Okay, can we have more programs that provide loaves of bread? That's part of.
But and I love the way you think, and I'm trying to hold on to that lover mentality of yours, the glass half full. I want to believe human beings can be rehabilitated. I think there are some great stories where they can. I also feel like men who fuck their mother's larynx need to spend the rest of their natural born days in prison.
It's beyond.
His attorney said, he's happy where he is. He's happy to stay in prison. He would have nowhere to go except to like a nursing home, I guess.
I don't give a fuck.
He's in a wheelchair now. Right. In 2022, why would they let a female, corrections officer change his diaper? But in 2022, as she's changing his diaper, two of them, because he's 6'9", he grabbed her ass.
Oh my God.
And so he was, slapped on the hand for that. And now I guess it's only dudes that change his diaper.
Wow.
So, yeah, don't ever let a female corrections officer change a serial killer's diaper.
God.
I don't know how these things happen. But anyway, I will tell you, I'm grateful to the Santa Cruz County District Attorney who said, this is something I thought was so beautiful, and I wish I could have found the transcript. They spent 10 minutes explaining why he was going to be denied.
Okay, well.
I'm guessing it was a list of all the fun shit he's done. However long it took him, I wish I could have gotten a transcript of it, but the boiling down was he is reprehensible. He had in April had a psychological evaluation, and the psychiatrist said he is a threat to society still.
Yeah.
At the age of 75 in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, in diapers.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean.
So I'm grateful for that district attorney.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but I guess I'm glad that he is still alive. At least I'm glad he was alive in the 70s and 80s when he was Chatty Cathy.
Right.
And he helped profilers.
Right.
Find out a lot about the way the mind works.
Sure.
Of somebody who fucks their mom's larynx.
Sure. I mean, and that's, yeah. There's so much that we know about profiling, like we as all the profilers, that that's huge advancements.
He kind of poo-pooed profilers, which was fascinating. I love that he said, well, I don't think that that's what was going on, when they were talking about his mom. But then he would later on kind of agree. Right. He cried when he was talking about his mom. Not like not like boo-hoo-hoo, but you could tell he got choked up. Yeah. I don't know if it's true. I mean, I guess, but yeah. Anyway, there are some great podcasts, long form podcasts about Ed Kemper. I wouldn't necessarily listen to the short ones because I don't think it's just sort of surfacey.
Sure.
But he is a fascinating motherfucker. I hate to say that. I don't want to give him any credit, but I am grateful for a system that keeps people like him in, and grateful for a system that is looking at changing those kind of, sentences so that people that hopefully, fingers crossed, will not repeat offend,
right,
can get out and maybe be, productive members of society.
Right. Yeah.
So thank you for your beautiful words.
Yeah.
I appreciate your perspective.
I appreciate it. We all could do, we're all doing our best.
I like to think so.
And yeah.
I mean, I'm very judgmental of others, but
we're doing our best.
Right. I hope so. So if you have a tip on a missing person or unsolved homicide, or you just want to suggest a case, please give us a call at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms, just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JTTipsters on Instagram, at JTTipstersPod on Twitter. We do have a YouTube channel, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.